Good evening. It is time for today's Tax Talk. I'm your host. I'm attorney Stephen Leahy. It is Monday, October 17th, year of our Lord 2022. I know it's October 17th because today's the tax deadline. That's what we're going to talk about today. I hope you can join us. So it is today's Tax Talk. As I was walking over here today, first time I had to wear a jacket all year. It's kind of chilly before, but today it was really cold. Kind of reminds you that time goes by, doesn't it? It just keeps ticking, and you always have to stop and think. What can I accomplish today? And do a little bit every day, and all of a sudden you've accomplished something. But time goes by whether you do anything or not. And so, again, try to accomplish something, little something every day. And you'll be amazed at the results. My own opinion. But today we're going to talk about like doing your taxes. Right? So today was the tax deadline, as we mentioned, October 17th. It's usually October 15th, but the 15th was on a Saturday. And as we've discussed many times on this show, the next business day is October 17th today. Because now we're going to also talk about what's going on in Florida. Because of the Florida hurricane, some people get longer, and the IRS kind of can do that. So let's go to the web, to the stories, and let's see what's going on there. So here's the story. October tax deadline is here for millions who filed for an extension. What happens if you miss it? Well, you pay a fine. You pay penalties. That's the way it works. Kicking the can down the road by requesting a 6-month extension for filing your taxes, as a staggering nearly 19 million taxpayers did this year, means plenty of people are looking at the October 17th deadline for filing their federal income tax returns. 19 million people. Now, some people have to file an extension because they don't get the tax records in time. Corporate tax returns are due March 15th or thereabouts, and then a month later is the personal. But so many times when you're preparing your corporate tax returns to get the K9s over to K9s, sorry. K1s over to your to send those out for your personal tax returns. Sometimes it takes a while, and people have to ask for an extension, and so that's why a lot of people have to. But many people ask for an extension just because they're not prepared, and then or they don't have the money, and they believe that if they ask for an extension, we'll also give them time to extend the time to pay. And I just want to reiterate that it does not give you an extended time to pay. You still have to pay in April. You only get to then you say, well, Attorney Leahy, how do I know how much I have to pay? The answer is you don't know. You have to estimate. If you underestimate, you'll pay a penalty. If you overestimate, you'll get a refund. It's just the way it works. Okay. Yes, we are busy. It's not as bad as the first round of the busy season, but we're still pretty busy getting individual tax returns prepared. Said a tax preparer. Those filing in the next few weeks will want to make sure to have all their paperwork in hand, especially for any payments they received in 2021 for the advanced child tax credit. These advanced payments aren't taxable, but they are an important part of calculating your tax refund when you file a 2021 return. You also want to know the exact amount you received from stimulus payments in 2021. If those amounts don't align with what the IRS has on its records, then that can delay in processing their returns. If you're filing a return now, it's best to file electronically instead of by paper. While the tax season went somewhat smoothly for many, some who filed paper returns in April deadline continue to wait for tax refunds in late September. Others saw their money only recently, and some still have not. That's just a fact. As of late June, the IRS finally completed processing all the originally filed Form 1040 paper returns without errors that they received in 2021 for 2020. It's a first in, first out process. Once the returns received in 2021 were processed, the IRS could move on to the paper returns received this year. The accumulation of paper returns has been a troublesome development since the COVID-19 pandemic shutdowns shook the system. Why did so many people request a 2022 tax filing extension? Every year, a group of people just naturally drag their feet past April and file Form 4868 to request an automatic 6-month extension. If it's automatic, why do I have to ask? You're being technical. By filing that form, you get more time to file a completed tax return, not more time to pay your tax bill. You want to pay any amount due as much as you can by the April deadline to avoid interest and penalties on what you owed. This year, the numbers filing for extension exploded to record levels as some taxpayers hoped the IRS would extend the deadline. Others worried that some last-minute tax changes could be around the corner from Congress, and many weren't sure how to calculate the child tax credit or recovery rebate credit. So by giving this money out from the IRS, these tax credits, they make it more difficult for everybody. And then they make it more difficult for you to do your tax returns, and it makes it longer for them to complete them. It's just a vicious circle. Inflation eased at 8.2%, but it remained high in September. I don't know why that's in there. COVID really changed things as far as how people file, the pace at which they're doing it. It just changed the nature of tax law, too, because so many credits became available. This chief tax information officer at Jackson Hewlett said no one really has a firm answer on why so many extensions were requested for 2022, far above even 2020 and 2021. People are just getting used to getting extensions. Excuse me. In typical years before the pandemic, he said 9 million to 10 million people would request an extension each year. Nearly 11.6 million filed Form 4868 in 2020, and an estimated 13.56 million filed an extension in 2021. The IRS said in the latest figures through September 23rd showed that 18.95 million extension requests were filed in 2022, including nearly 16.4 million that were electronically filed. What happens if you missed the October 15th deadline? It's October 17th. Don't try to go past the October 17th deadline, which is technically October 15th, but delayed until October 17th this year because of the 15th is on a Saturday. If you file an extension and you don't file your return, your penalty and interest calculations are grandfathered back to the original April 18th due date. At this point, see what that means? That you not only, if you don't file it, they're going to go all the way back to April. So you'll pay a penalty based on that. And I think it's 5% per month of what you owe, up to 25%. I believe that's what it is. I'd have to look it up. If you filed an extension and you don't file your return, your penalty and interest, okay. At this point, documents should be in the taxpayer's hands, including W-2s, 1099s, K-1s, for investments and partnerships. Double check your numbers and information. Any missing information or mismatched information on IRS systems can be expected to trigger trouble, including a delay on any refund. Some tax filers figure they can come close to the number, say that they think that they received a stimulus cash, and imagine that the IRS will fix it if necessary. But that's not a good bet, given all the problems the IRS has been facing. It's really not that. They never will anyway. Stuber calls some tax trouble self-inflicted delay when tax filers don't provide exact numbers or information. The IRS noted that taxpayers who are filing now want to avoid mistakes when claiming the Earned Income Tax Credit, the Child and Dependent Care Credit, the Child Tax Credit and Recovery Rebate Credit. It's just the IRS has become a welfare state. They just give out money instead of collecting it. In 2022, the message is clear. We need to be accurate. There are no simple tax returns in the pandemic. Not because of that, right? That's why. So anyway, that's it. I thought there was a longer article, but here's another article I wanted to point out. Uh-oh. I don't know what happened there. Well, that's not what I was looking for. I had an article about the Florida right? And the Florida, because of Florida, they have extra time. I think they're given an extra till February to file those returns. Pretty sure that's it. But because the IRS will always give extensions based on weather and travesty that happened here in Illinois when all the tornadoes hit. They gave back in the spring. They gave people extra time at that then to file their tax returns. So it is the best way to do this is to get everything done contemporaneously, as they say, as you go, right? So I'm trying to get these get this in effect where we want people to start keeping good records, because with the inclusion of the additional tax employees, IRS employees, there's going to be more audits, and so because you're going to be more likely to be audited. You should get everything in order. So if they audit you, you're prepared. Most people who get audited, they have to pay, not because they did something wrong, or the only thing they did wrong is they didn't keep good records. And when you don't keep good records, you don't get the deductions. And when you don't get the deductions, now all of a sudden you owe more money. And if you're running your own business, if you're a business owner and you're trying to make ends meet, giving the IRS money for penalties or overpaying on your taxes is a sure way to make your business fail. So we don't want your business to fail. We are trying to we want your business to succeed. Right? We're trying to help you grow, and there's ways to do that. The first thing you have to do is get your foundation of your business sturdy, right? So you have to make sure that all the paperwork is filed correctly, right? That you've elected the subchapter S, that you've prepared a QuickBooks account so you can put data in it. Now, QuickBooks now is tied to your checking account, so a lot of the paperwork there is automatic, and that's a huge step forward to just keep records on a contemporaneous basis. It's so important, and then to structure your business correctly, right? And then to keep your minutes and follow the corporate requirements. So if anything happens, you can take advantage of the limited liability and all the other advantages of owning your own corporation. So if you're having questions about that, you should give us a call. Hey, this is what you should do. Go to don't go to freeirsbook.com. Go to fightbacknow.com and find out about this Fight Back Now. We're putting together a group. We'd love to have you join us. Patriots are getting together to fight back against big government by following the rules and making sure we're set up right so they don't take advantage of us. That's what we're doing. So thanks so much for joining us. I'm going to ask you to like and subscribe. Like and subscribe. Thank you so much. We need your help to get this out, to get this information out. And again, if you're fighting the IRS, go to freeirsbook.com. We'll pay for the printing, ask you to pay for the shipping and handling. Go to freeirsbook.com, get your copy of Deal with Your IRS Problem Today. Deal with Your IRS Problem Today. So thanks so much for joining us here today. We'll see you tomorrow is Crypto Tuesday, and we'll see you right back here then. Thanks so much for joining us. Out.